Welcome back to another of our lectures in Gnosticism versus New Testament truth, a fight for the minds and hearts of Christians with a long history. This is a lecture about the origins of Gnosticism in Jewish and Christian background. We see that background had a place because the Jewish diaspora took people to Greek speaking places such as Alexandria or Antioch. We had syncretism in the Second Temple period versus religious purity of the Essenes or the Pharisees. We had Jewish Gnosticism already existing at the time, coming out of Alexandria and other places from Babylon or other places in the Roman Empire. We talked about the Gnosticism versus biblical narratives, bringing you into Luke's description of Simon the magician in Samaria, which speaks against Gnostic heresies. Many things take their Gnostic heresies from Simon's. We're now going to look at two Gnostics with Docetism, something that denied the reality of the deity of Christ. So let's pick those up and hear what the Christian authors who rebutted them described them as. Now, there's no existing writing of these folks at this time because they were thrown away, although there's plenty of modern discussion about it. So what does they say? Balisades says there's 365 heavens. You go through various levels. I'm sure that you can hear other things today the same. The other things is spiritual actions don't matter. Now, the picture that I use in here is from J. Lyle's story. Jill Bennett had a paper that, if you're interested, that summarized some of these. But here I've got something from my own works, which is how the Samaritan headdresses from Simon the Samaritan magician we heard of in Acts 8. Here's our two places. Down here is Balisades in Alexandria, 90 through 160, and Valentinus, who is in the area of the Roman Empire. Perhaps he was in Ephesus. Cerathus, who denied both the humanity and deity of Christ, was definitely in Ephesus. These are people, notice, Cerathus had license. Freedom for license was sexual license or rebutting stuff. Valentinus took us perhaps into aestheticism. Don't eat, don't talk. Okay. Balisades was born in Alexandria. They say a lot of the writings which were in 117, 138. He was definitely in the time period. He again came from Simon, the magician who probably moved up toward Ephesus. Valentin, he said there were 365 heavens from the ultimate God. They went through various things. Jesus didn't die on the cross. He's really denying, as we mentioned earlier, he's denying the humanity of Christ. He's just a visionary thing. You know, he's not denying the deity like the Ebonite. He's not like Servius who denies, but he's denying the humanity. So what did the other Docetism say in Valentinus? The world was created by a capricious and militant deed of the Jewish scriptures. Aha! He's picking up the overtone Gnosticism. It was created by an angel trapped on humans on earth. Who's got the capricious and malevolent deity? Well, remember back in our Jewish lecture, the Ophrite said, capricious and malevolent deity, the creator God, not a God of good. That some higher good was ultimately good, not this creator God, and predestines humans with a spark of deity would return. There you see the predestination from the Essenes, and spark of divinity would return. Nothing could kill the spark of divinity. So you didn't really have to worry about things. To travel, they must learn the secrets to pass through these dangerous planets because they're going to go on a journey. Oh, please, if you thought the video games today had it first. Jesus was fully God, but he only appeared to die. It wasn't really human. And this Jesus who has a spark of divinity that's going back can give you secret passages. Cool. Well, remember what Dr. Story talked about in this? Docetism, I think, I suppose, this Jesus only seen to be born, lived, and died. And yeah, live in this matter of human, and the spiritual Christ went back up. Wow. So let's hear Eusebius on Balisades. Well, this is what he says. While exposing heresies, he says that Balisades wrote 24 books on the gospel. Get your books here. I'm sure he sold them for money. And he invented the prophets for himself, named Barakas and Barakop, and others that had no existence. And he gave them barbarous names to amaze those who marvel at such things. And he taught the eating of meat offered to idols and the unguarded renunciation of faith in times of persecution were a matter of indifference. And he enjoined on his followers like Polycarp a silence of 5 years. Well, sounds like a great guy. Sounds like he had a real power struggle like our friend Simon, who had a problem when people stopped thinking of him as something great. That's what Peter said to him. Irenaeus and Valentinus, and Irenaeus was a bishop who was in Rome and went to Lyons to help the Christians out there when a whole bunch of the Christians were put inside of a church and killed by the people outside putting wood to the church and burning them alive. So he was a man of significant faith and stern character, and he fought against these Gnostic heresies, this denial of Jesus as Christ. He said spiritual substance, again, they decide as having been set forth to this end, that united with that which is animal might assume shape, and these two elements might be subject to the same discipline. That's what the salt of the world and the light of the world is. What Christ was talking, not what Christ was talking about. But Valentinus goes on, the animal systems had need of training by the outward centers. On this account, they affirmed the word was created, and so the Savior came to the animal's subject, was processed of free will, that he might secure it for salvation. So again, the descent, just as Dr. Story's picture shows you. And they affirm he received the first fruits of those who he was about to save, and from Amok, which was this spiritual high God, and is vested by the demiurge with the animal Christ, so two natures. Christ comes down and was begirt with a special dispensation of the body inside with nature that was subconstricted with unspeakable skill, so that it might be visible and tangible and capable of enduring suffering. At the same time, they deny he assumed anything material. This matter is, since the material is incapable of salvation, material matter is bad, spirit good, life goes on. Okay, so after that back, laying that back, Irenaeus and Eusebius rebutted. We'll go into that in the next lecture. I try not to overload you all at once as we continue with our lectures on Gnosticism and New Testament truth, a fight for the minds and hearts and obedience of Christians with a long history. I guess Christians and Jews with a long history. I'll look forward to speaking with you again in Lecture 7.